Ever thought of hosting your own show? Better yet, a podcast? Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. Anchor gives you everything you need in one place for free. You can use it right from your phone, laptop, and computer. Anchor has all the tools you need to record and edit your podcast. They will even help you distribute your podcast, such as Spotify, Apple, Google, and much, much more. You can make easy money. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
We're less than 2 weeks away from WWE SummerSlam on August 11th. Raw and Smackdown continue to build its momentum with another extravaganza set of matches. Seth Rollins main evented Monday Night Raw, and in SmackDown, Kofi, Kingston, and AJ Styles close out with an A+ match. Which wrestlers came out on top this week? Who is locked in at SummerSlam and who is out? We got that and much, much more on the Hard Hittin Wrestling Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, prepare your ear holes for the best wrestling podcast in the world. It's time for the Hard Hittin Wrestling Show.
Welcome everyone this week on HHW Show. That's right, it's the Hard Hittin Wrestling Show. I'm Ovi Muniz.
And I'm Jace Garcia.
Just 1 week after Dolph Ziggler's super kick HBK Shawn Michaels, Seth Rollins promised to honor HBK by punishing him in the main event on Raw. The match very much looked like Seth Rollins' favor to win when all of a sudden Brock Lesnar's music played and the Universal Champion shattered Seth Rollins with several suplexes and numerous F5s to even stop the ambulance, pull him out, and continue doing an F5 on top of the stretcher. No reports were given on Seth Rollins' condition, and he refused to give that condition to anyone. Will Seth Rollins make it to SummerSlam? And if so, does he have a chance to win back the title?
Definitely will make it to SummerSlam. I have no doubt in my mind. Seth Rollins is Seth freaking Rollins for a reason, and he will get there. The question, I think the hard question is, will he beat Brock Lesnar? He did, when he won at WrestleMania, he had to go and use dirty tactics with the low blow. And granted, Brock started that with the attack prior to the match. An unhealthy Seth Rollins who's nursing injuries, low-handed tactics like a low blow will only work once against someone like Brock Lesnar. And if you're not healthy against Brock, you're in for a problem. It's going to be tough. This is the typical underdog story, but Brock Lesnar's Brock Lesnar.
You're right about that. Brock Lesnar is the beast. Paul Heyman keeps saying it time after time after time that he can put a damage to anyone, the damaging terror of destruction. And that's what we saw on Monday. For someone like that, you know, Seth Rollins was bleeding through the mouth. Who knows what condition he's in, if his ribs are broken and stuff like that. And if he attempts to be out there in SummerSlam, that match is not going to last long.
Yeah, I agree with you.
On the women's side of the house, Becky Lynch fought twice. The first match ended in a stoppage between Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss. She faked her injury, or supposedly so. Nikki Cross challenged Becky Lynch and accepted it. And on that second match, Becky Lynch pinned Nikki Cross. All that for Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross to beat down Becky Lynch. And then all of a sudden came Natalya. She came through when we all expected that she was going to rescue Becky Lynch, but instead she applied a sharpshooter.
I do like this feud with Natalya and Becky just because it is new. So I do like seeing Natalya finally getting her shot at a championship for a while, and I do like it. And with the Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross stuff, I don't necessarily know how I feel about that. I feel like I wanted to see for a while the falling out of that, but now whenever I see them, I roll my eyes and I'm kind of getting sick of it.
It shows also the audience there and the fans' reaction, especially on Twitter, of how they feel about Alexa Bliss. More on Alexa Bliss later. Let me remind you, this was a karma act for Natalya because when Natalya was working out and practicing with her coaches, Becky Lynch came out and deliberately applied the armbar on Natalya earlier in the day. With Natalya coming out and doing the sharpshooter, that was brilliant. And she made a statement that you're not going to bully me because whatever you do to me, I'm going to do it back to you. And that's a message that everyone's seen and was going to make it awesome come SummerSlam.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought this was... It felt new and refreshing to see this happen, and I did like it. It adds more to the man character of Becky Lynch and how badass she is.
Natalya is the number one contender for the Women's Raw title. Maybe it's because SummerSlam is in Canada, and Natalya got the go around.
Yeah, maybe.
But if it wasn't because of Canada, who should have been Becky's opponent?
I do like Natalya facing Becky because she is a staple of the women's division and has been for a while now. And it has been a while since she's gotten her shot. Now, other than her, maybe continuing the Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross stuff, going on from Bayley to Becky might have been interesting, as well as maybe a Carmella or something like that. But I'm fine with Natalya. I just wanted to see new faces against Becky Lynch. And Natalya is a fine, refreshing new face to see take on the man.
Well, Natalya defeated Becky Lynch at Battleground in 2016. Can she do it again in this year's SummerSlam? With Alexa Bliss, she went on to Smackdown for a 2-on-2 tag team match with Nikki Cross versus Bayley and Ember Moon. Alexa came out victorious by pinning Ember Moon 1-2-3. This may indicate that she is not out of the title picture. One can speculate that Alexa may argue her way in for a triple threat match. How do you think that will turn out?
I would like to see that, especially because the Ember Moon and Bayley stuff started off all buddy, and they have had this heat come together the past 2 weeks, but still 2 weeks isn't enough heat to build to a big show like SummerSlam. As well as I think a triple threat match is something that a big card like this needs. I like seeing triple threat matches and fatal four ways. So throwing Alexa Bliss in there, and also in that match, in that tag team match, you saw more of Nikki Cross being like the test dummy for Alexa Bliss, where she's the one taking the falls. She shouldn't be in the ring because Alexa's the legal person, but she's still getting hit and she is still taking the falls. She's like a bodyguard for Alexa Bliss, which I don't really like that, but I understand it. And yes, Alexa Bliss did get the win, so I think she should be able to leverage that into a triple threat match.
The main event of SmackDown was originally a 6-man tag team match between the New Day versus the OCs. Multiple sources in the wrestling community reported that Vince McMahon called and changed the match to only have Kofi Kingston versus AJ Styles in a non-title match. Now, I don't know about you, but I was so excited to finally see a 3-on-3 between the champions versus champions to see who were going to be the better team. But in fact, that did not happen. Big Jason and I, we talked about this before the show, is that the next pay-per-view event following SummerSlam is the Clash of Champions. Will we see these guys fight each other at Clash of Champions? We will see on that. However, getting back to the match, in my opinion, the match was an A+ match. One of the best that I've seen so far with this new change that WWE is trying to establish. The intensity of the tag teams watching Kofi and AJ going at it was growing and growing until they finally snapped and released their stress. But we couldn't see all of it because so much action was happening in the ring that we couldn't see what was going on outside the ring. So at the end, Kofi defeated AJ Styles by pinfall.
Yeah, I do agree with you. That is one of the better matches. And as soon as the OC won the title on Monday, I went on my phone Because in my head, I thought Clash of Champions was after SummerSlam, but I just had to make sure. Went on my phone, looked it up. This has to be where they're going for Clash of Champions, and I think it will be fun. And this is the perfect setup for it. Granted, Kofi and Ricochet have their opponents all set for SummerSlam. So this is the perfect setup for it because we know that next week Kofi is going to be focused on Randy and AJ is going to be focused on Ricochet. But I do think at the next pay-per-view this is going to be the 6-man tag team that I want to see, and I think it would just be fun. We already saw a glimpse of that last night.
You said it best. I can't wait for the Clash of Champions now, and that's if these guys still remain as champions. Now, we do know that the United States champion will be defended. The WWE Championship will be defended. But what about the tag teams? We have not known anything yet to see if they're going to be involved in SummerSlam. But in my opinion, I do not think that the tag teams will be defended.
I have a question for you. So say Kofi and both Kofi and AJ Styles lose at SummerSlam. Could they do a 6-man tag team match for the tag team titles?
I don't think we'll see a 3-on-3, but I do see that both Kofi and AJ Styles could be managers and support their tag teams and fight one another. And that could bring me to another question let me add a question for that. Okay. Ready? WWE, are they okay with having 2 tag team champions, or is it about time that we combine all the tag teams and make one tag team champion?
I like that idea. I liked it back in the days where SmackDown had the tag team division and Raw had the Divas division, as well as the normal belts, as we always see. Because I was tuning into SmackDown to see, that was the one I was focused on, because SmackDown is known for the tag team divisions in all of its history. So I do think that is something that would help, especially with how the Raw tag team division has been run. But going back to my prior question, we saw on Extreme Rules, we saw a mixed match tag team where both the Raw Women's Championship and the Universal Championship were on the line. So I could see them doing something for Clash of Champions where it is a 6-man tag for the tag team championship.
The reason why I brought that up also was that AEW this fall, starting October 2nd, are going to start the tag team tournament to figure out who will be the actual AEW tag team champions. So with that going on, why not have WWE have only one tag team champion and they shift to SmackDown because they will be on Fox? Here's the rest of the results on Raw and SmackDown. On Raw, Mike Canales won the 24/7 title only to be forced by his wife Maria to lie down so that she can win the championship. Ricochet wins the gauntlet match to become the #1 contender for United States Championship. He will face AJ Styles at SummerSlam. The OCs defeated the Revival and the Usos to become the new tag team champions. Another jobber match for the Viking Raiders. They were victorious, which led to the wrestling community to sound off on Twitter to why they are still matching up with the weak. On SmackDown, the absence of Shane McMahon did not stop him to showcase a video to begin the show. Kevin Owens was happy only to find himself exchanging words with Drew McIntyre. Kevin Owens defeated Drew by applying the stunner. Charlotte Flair challenges Trish Stratus to a match at SummerSlam on the King's Court segment. The challenge was accepted by Trish. Dolph Ziggler defeated Finn Balor thanks to Bray Wyatt's interruption, and Ali redeemed himself by defeating Shinsuke Nakamura. Finally, after the SmackDown main event, Roman Reigns intended to go out and make his SummerSlam challenge. However, the big dog hit an obstacle as someone tried to cause harm by plummeting tons of steel beams and equipment boxes toward him. Roman Reigns escaped with no injuries. Still to come, the debate between Flair and Trish Stratus, who is in and who is out for SummerSlam pay-per-view, and which performers are shining at the right time. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Charlotte Flair versus Trish Stratus. SummerSlam is locked in. What do you got to say about this match?
This is the match to determine who is the GOAT of women's professional wrestling. Charlotte Flair has been the queen of the modern era, and she's been at the top, even though she's not a champion currently. With that being said, the modern women's evolution that it was last year wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Trish Stratus changing. She was the pioneer who's very integral in getting the women's division, the Divas division, to the women's division. She was the one that wasn't all just looks. She backed it up in the ring. And that's something we now see Charlotte do at a top level, and it's just going to be a fun match to watch, and it's one of the dream matches that we haven't yet seen.
Right, so Charlotte Flair is the queen, and Trish Stratus is the legend. You're right. We go back to the Raw reunion. Because of the past, we have what wrestling is today. Do you think that Trish Stratus has what it takes to defeat Charlotte Flair?
Does she have what it takes? No, to be quite honest with you. I think this is a retirement match for Trish Stratus. I think this will be her last match, and if you're a wrestler, you go out on your back. So I think this will be the way the modern era, the past era reigns in the modern era, and she will go on her back. She will put over the newer face of the women's division.
Once the rest of the women came out, the evolution came out, you now see the woman as athletic. They could do just as good as the men can and better, right?
Yeah.
So my point is, Charlotte Flair, Trish Stratus, it is very hard to determine how they're going to angle this. Now, do I believe Charlotte Flair is going to win? I don't know, to be honest with you. I have no idea. Because it go either way. She could win and reclaim that she is the queen of queens. But then we're in Canada. Yeah, now, are they going to treat Trish Stratus as Goldberg? Goldberg came out and he won. And to later on go to WrestleMania to lose to Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
So will they do the same thing with Trish Stratus?
I think would be interesting and would be cool, especially since Trish Stratus hasn't been as inactive as Goldberg was, you know? She was in the Women's Royal Rumble. She was in Evolution. She even had a match on Raw after Evolution. So she has been, she's been in the ring fairly recently. This would be a perfect setup for a big match at WrestleMania. And if that's the route they want to go, I'm down with that. I enjoy that. I like that. If you want to give Trish Stratus one run at a belt like they did with Goldberg and have it end in WrestleMania, I am in for that.
Now, who is in and who is out? Let's start with who is in. Ready?
Yep.
All right. So we already know Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins for the Universal title. We got Becky Lynch versus Natalya for the Women's Raw title. Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. Bray Wyatt versus Finn Balor, which we don't know if Finn Balor is going to turn demon on that match. Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens in the KO Quit match. If Kevin Owens loses, Kevin has to announce that he quits. Bayley versus Ember Moon for the SmackDown title. Let's see if it's going to remain that way or is Alexa Bliss going to be added for a triple threat. What's pending right now is Shinsuke Nakamura versus Ali for the Intercontinental Championship. Yep. Now, Ali lost to Shinsuke in Smackville, ended up winning on Tuesday night. So we'll see if he gets to go around and fights for the Intercontinental Championship.
If he gets a rubber match at SummerSlam.
AJ Styles versus Ricochet for the U.S. title. Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz. And Sami Zayn already announced that he will challenge Aleister Black at SummerSlam.
Sami Zayn picked a fight with Aleister.
What we don't know now is Roman Reigns. Now, supposedly he's going to be in SummerSlam, but who's going to challenge Roman Reigns? What we need to know first is who tried to hurt Roman Reigns. Could it be Braun Strowman? Could it be Bobby Lashley? Samoa Joe? Drew McIntyre? Elias? But what about Daniel Bryan?
That is interesting. You bring that up because that was something I've been kind of theorizing about. That would be interesting, and I would like to see that. That would be very cool. But after the quote unquote Samoan Summit on Monday night, I think the two biggest candidates are Samoa Joe and Drew McIntyre. And I love a whodunit, and that's what we got here. Let's hope it doesn't turn out like Vince McMahon crashing the car, exploding in the car, where the next week they have to reminisce over Chris Benoit. Let's hope nothing like that happens. But I love whodunits, and this seems like it's going to be good. Granted, I would have liked it. It feels a little rushed. I would like to stretch it out and have it last couple weeks, but this seems fun. A lot of speculation to be had, but if I had to bet money on it, I'm going to go with Samoa Joe.
Let's hope that the suspense carries on to SummerSlam, so when they introduce Roman Reigns to the ring, then we'll find out who was that guy that tried to hurt Roman Reigns and then have him come out. Now, would that happen? That is a dream of mine, but I think for certain that we may find out very, very soon enough. We still have the New Day, the Iconics, Tag Team Champions without any opponents. The OCs, I don't think we're going to see any tag team titles being defended.
I don't think we will, because if you look, the card is packing up. This already looks like it's going to be one of those pay-per-views that doesn't end until 1 o'clock in the morning. And tag team matches normally take longer than normal one-on-ones.
Or they could be like UFC and have the preliminary card starting at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and then carry on all the way to the actual show. Why have a kickoff show when you have preliminary? I think that would have been an outstanding one, to be honest with you.
I like that. That's a smart idea, but...
And it's only for like events like this, SummerSlam and WrestleMania.
Yeah, I love that idea, but the way the WWE is trending, smart ideas don't normally make the cut.
All right. So before we're going to end the show, we have the performers that are shining at the right time. Now, everyone has their own opinions, but as for the Hard Hittin Wrestling Show, we've been calculating to see who is hot and who is not. So, the hottest performers at the right time. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Kofi Kingston, Seth Rollins, Ricochet, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Nikki Cross. They're already there. They're hot, right?
Yeah.
So, who else that we have not talked about that is a sneaker? Meaning the sneaky ones. Who do you have in mind?
Braun. He's been phenomenal, and he's someone who needs to be put on this SummerSlam card.
Okay. But my thing is the heavy machinery.
Yeah.
So on the dark matches, the heavy machineries, they've been doing a lot of winning, but we don't see it on TV.
Which is a shame, because I like heavy machinery, and I think they have something really good with Otis. There's something about him that I don't know if it's just me, but I just love watching him be himself and be that goofy, weird guy.
You're right. The AOP, we haven't even heard anything about them, but they're in the dark matches. They just had a match with the Heavy Machinery. Heavy Machinery beat them on Smackville during the dark match. They're also getting hot, even though they had lost, but they have been on the winning streak of late. Also, the Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah.
They got their very first loss on Smackville. They lost to the Iconics. However, I don't know how they lost, but the fact is that the Iconics, they actually got a win under their belt. How is that going to transition for SummerSlam, which it was said that the Iconics were going to defend their titles on television?
Well, they did defend on television with the count-out loss a couple weeks ago, but
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous from a competitive standpoint. From a character standpoint, that is the Iconics, and that is perfect for them. But yeah, I do want to see more of them.
The biggest losers, I want to say losers like that, but the ones that have more losses than wins, the top three are Sami Zayn.
Makes sense.
Having him face Aleister Black for SummerSlam, just going to, I'm going to lead to Aleister Black winning that match.
It's just going to be Aleister Black kicking it. It's probably going to be one of the quickest matches of all time, just because of what they've been doing.
Not as quick as what happened to him in the gauntlet match on Monday Night Raw, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Andrade. I'm surprised with the list. Andrade has lost more than what he has won, and he was supposed to be projected to go on top. So
yeah, that's a shocking one to me.
And the other one that is a shocker is Cesaro.
Yeah.
That guy needs a lift. He is. And he's playing that role of supporting all the wrestlers except for putting him on top of the pedestal and be the champ.
Yeah. I think Cesaro doesn't shock me that he's on this list. He is one of the guys that, I'm using my favorite word here, is devalued all the time. He is a world championship caliber, if not an actual champion, challenger. He should be challenging for one of the belts, and I think that that would be a fun match. No one is like him in the ring, but he is put into this role where he is getting the new NXT come-ups, and he's putting them over. Started with Ricochet, then moved on to Aleister Black. I don't know who's next for him. It's ridiculous, and he deserves more than what he gets.
This is the Hard Hittin Wrestling Show. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ovi Muniz.
I'm Jace Garcia.
Be sure to join us next time right here with the Hard Hittin Wrestling Show.